I am done. I am done being the nice baby mom. There are some men who would love to be able to get their kids when they want to and co-parent efficiently. Like there are some parent fathers that would love that. And then there are some who completely take advantage of it and think that the bare minimum that they have to offer is enough. And it's okay for us baby mothers to get to the point where we say, we're done. I am done. My hands are fucking washed. I am putting them on child support. We are doing set schedules through the courts. I am done. I'm done doing this by myself.
Guys, you would think that these women would learn after going and chasing Chad for the 15th time, okay? So here we have a woman, guys, who has 3 children, all of separate ages, complaining about the fact that men are not picking up the slack and that her baby fathers are not in the picture of the kids. Guys, I have said this before on the channel, okay, guys, but single mothers have done it to themselves. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video, and on today's episode, guys, we have a bit of an interesting one for you guys here today. So I have a Reddit story that I wanted to show you guys, which I thought was particularly disgusting. Now, this is a Reddit story where it's not just the woman who's at fault, but it is also the man for putting up with such terrible behavior. Basically, we'll jump into the story in a second, guys, but we have a man who got married to his wife. They've been married for 5 days. And he has come to realize that his wife has cheated on him. Now, guys, this is a story that a lot of men go through where you commit to a woman, whether that be marriage, whether that be a relationship, whether that be, you've made the woman the father of your, the mother of your child, whatever the case may be, and then you come to find out that, hey, wait a minute, she's been entertaining other dudes, perhaps at the beginning of our relationship, or while we have been together. Guys, this is something that I cannot stress enough, that pretty much every single man who's been out there dating has endured at one point or another throughout his life. So without further ado, guys, let's just jump into this Reddit story that I have pulled up, and fair warning, guys, it is just straight up disgusting. So let's jump into it here. So this was posted 4 hours ago at the time of me recording this video, written by a man named Juicy Monkey. He says, I found out the girl that I married 5 days ago had quote-unquote cheated on me a year ago. He says, I need help. I'm too embarrassed and confused to go to anyone I know for advice. Me and my girl had been together for about 4.5 years, and last year she had a mental breakdown, if you will. She came home and told me that she was so stressed out with law school and work that she can't handle a relationship right now. Guys, this is something beautiful, okay? You'll hear this all the time. Girls will say things like, I just can't handle this right now, or I'm not in the place in my life where I want this particular thing. And what it really means is that the woman has either messed up, okay, she's gotten with another dude, or she just doesn't prioritize you. Okay, like I hear these conversations where guys will say things like, oh, I asked this girl out and she said that she was busy, but, she asked to reschedule. Guys, when people say that they're too busy for something, or when people say like, oh, life just gets in the way, I can't really do a relationship right now, what they're really telling you is that they don't value the relationship as highly as whatever else might be in their life. Okay, like I've heard this so many times, guys. Like girls will say things like, oh, I just can't do it right now, but maybe can we do it next week? And dudes will be so happy to pounce on the opportunity, like, yes, Karen, yes, Chloe, I'll potentially see you next week. And this is credit to the older guys who have been dating or have dated throughout their lives, and they have come to the realization that when girls pull this crap, when they try and re-enter your life or try and put conditions on whatever it is that you guys are setting up, typically the juice is not worth the squeeze. And like I say, guys, with this particular side of the internet, the dudes who are older, who have been through these things, they understand these things, and it's really the young guys oftentimes who will go through these situations, and you know, they'll eventually learn either that or they will have a lifetime of pain as they continue to go into these particular situations. But let's continue with the story here. So the woman comes and she says she's so stressed out with law school and work that she cannot handle a relationship right now. This is just a giant red flag right here, guys. You know, a woman just coming home to you, calling off the relationship. This should be saying to you, oh, wait a minute, she got with another guy, or she did something egregious, and what she's attempting to do is say, okay, what she's trying to do, guys, is she's done something bad, and now she's going to say, oh, well, I just can't do a relationship right now, so she can rationalize to herself that she's not a crappy person for cheating on her partner. Okay, let's keep going. This absolutely crushed me, he says, and I was messed up pretty bad mentally to the point where I was the S word. I have some history of depression after getting out of the military. So this is a guy who's been through the military. Man, it's always the most brutal situations. Dudes who serve their countries, dudes who are the most selfless individuals on the face of the planet, they get caught up in this mess. Really ridiculous. We ended up coming to a compromise and decided that we would take a quote-unquote break. We'll come back to this. So she could figure her own stuff out. However, we just slept in different rooms and just didn't talk for like a week or two. Okay, so they came to a quote-unquote compromise here. This guy has absolutely no spine whatsoever. If a woman comes to you guys and she says, hey, I don't think that this is going to work out, I don't think I don't see the relationship working out at this particular point in time, or she says something like, can we go on a break? The answer is no. That relationship is done and dusted. If you're a dude who's choosing not to date, then, you know, who after the fact would choose to not to date, that's totally fair enough. But you've got to understand, guys, that trying to put effort into things where it's not warranted is a complete and utter waste of your time. If a girl suggests to you that you go on a break, that means that she's trying to go out and she's trying to get other dudes, or she's been with another dude very recently, and she's trying to just rationalize to herself that she hasn't cheated on, you know, the guy who's in the relationship. It's just really disgusting behavior, guys. And this is something that a lot of men don't seem to realize, because we get this idea in our head like, oh, it's a break and this woman somehow has loyalty to us. When people go on breaks, that's basically a get out of jail free card to go and see a whole bunch of different men. It has nothing to do with loyalty. It has nothing to do with love or repairing or finding themselves, okay? Typically they'll find themselves in and amongst other men. So that's why you shouldn't continue the relationship. So we came to a compromise. I don't know why the hell this man is compromising. That makes no sense to me. And we decided that we would take a break. You mean... disgusting. So she could figure her own stuff out. Yeah, right. However, we just slept in different rooms, blah, blah, blah. It was miserable. Once we decided we could continue our relationship after making healthy conversations about changes that need to be made in our relationship, I was very fearful that she was hooking up with other guys during the break, as she worked in a bar until about 3 a.m. every night and wouldn't come home some nights. So the answer to this guy's question, or this guy's concern right here, is yes, she was in all likelihood getting with other dudes. Okay, if your girl is not coming home past 3 a.m., first of all, this man, she's not his woman at all. Second of all, if she's coming home at these particular hours of the nights or not coming home at all, she's going to see other guys. Okay, and I love how in this particular situation, the guy somehow has to compromise. Like why? I don't understand why on earth the guy is compromising and talking about. So this woman went and cheated on the guy, then broke up the relationship to feel like she didn't cheat, and now they're having discussions about presumably what the man needs to do better. So let me get this straight: the woman cheats, and the woman is most affected. So the man has to alter his behavior. Guys, make that make sense to me. That just absolutely makes no sense to me. But you know what? It is sad that I see this all of the damn time. Let's continue through the story here. We have, healthy conversations about changes that need to be made in our relationship. He was very fearful. She had assured me that nothing ever happened, and I believed her. Guys, we as dudes, I think we need to have a more healthy dose of cynicism and stop believing what people say and instead watch what they do. I'm sick of dudes being gaslit and, oh guys, it's all about trust, okay? Let me tell you something. If there is cause to believe something as serious as this is happening, I'm sick of men being gaslit into the idea of, hey guys, just blindly trust everything that everybody says, okay? Don't pay attention to their actions. Don't pay attention to what they do. That's just fluff, guys. Just believe in what people say. Okay, and there's something to be said for trusting your partner, obviously, guys, but let me just tell you something. When your partner wants to go on a break, when your partner breaks your trust, when your partner has inconsistent actions, okay, that trust is revoked the moment these things happen. Let's continue. Fast forward to this week, 5 days after our wedding, she tried to airdrop me a bunch of wedding photos, but she accidentally sent me a bunch of random photos from her phone, in which I found screenshots, two screenshots of messages, one text, one snapshot. Okay, so I'm assuming he means Snapchat and messages here of her clearly giving her guy her phone number, flirting, and the snap was the worst one. It was them talking about kissing the night before, and it was very flirtatious. I immediately confronted her about it. She told me it happened during our break, and she is sorry that she didn't want to tell me because she was scared that I would never forgive her and I would hate her and blah, blah, blah. I love in these particular situations, guys, when people lie to men, the rationalization is always like, oh, I didn't want the guy to hate me. I didn't want the man to think any less of me. Basically what the woman is saying here is, I didn't want there to be any consequences for my own actions. I didn't want there to be consequences for the fact that I cheated on this guy or that I got with other dudes, or it's just basically coming down to, I don't want to have consequences for the decisions that I chose to make. That's all that it really is, guys. And it's just so absolutely disgusting. Let's keep going with the story here. And excuse me, guys, I have to keep tabbing between the scenes here, so we're a little bit slow. So, this guy finds out that his wife of 5 days has been flirting with this guy. I would also argue probably that this flirting and all that probably wasn't even going on during their break. She probably had other guys during the break, as well as this guy who she's cheating on the man with. She's just trying to make it out as though this man was also in the break. So we have a multitude of lies going on in this particular situation, even though she's been caught. So the woman says that she was worried that he would never forgive her, hate her, blah, 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 all of these things. But the texts she sent him were from before our break by about a week. Wow, would you look at that? So not only, okay, was this woman talking to other dudes and just lying about it, she said that she didn't do anything during this time, which again, by the way, guys, if you're on a break, don't be stupid enough to delude yourself that the relationship isn't over. But she says, he realized that the texts that she was sending were before the guy's break by about a week. So what this woman had done was she had saw this guy for about a week, and then her, I don't know if I can say this word and it makes sense, but I suppose her conscience, I know, guys, hold in the laughter. Okay, I suppose her conscience got to her, and then she called it off for a break so she could screw around with this guy. I don't know. Okay, to me, that doesn't really qualify as a conscience. Maybe like a fraction of a conscience. Maybe she had so much cognitive dissonance going on in her brain that she just made this decision randomly. That would probably make more sense. But let's continue. This obviously led to a huge fight when we both got home from work. After all the yelling and tears, I sat there for a couple of hours by myself trying to figure out what to do. I told her I don't think I have a choice to forgive her. I can't face the embarrassment of having to tell my family less than a week after the wedding to break it off, and my parents always raised me to be forgiving and that it's the right thing to do. I love these just random values, guys, that are given to men, even though they're incredibly detrimental. Like, yes, guys, there is a point in your life where it's probably a good idea situationally to be forgiving of particular mistakes. Like, everybody makes mistakes, but let me tell you something. Infidelity is not a mistake. Particularly, first of all, infidelity straight up is not a mistake. Second of all, infidelity is something that cannot be forgiven, guys. It really just absolutely cannot. Okay, especially because first of all, it's not forgivable. Second of all, the woman lied to the guy multiple ways about it. So what on earth? This guy, guys, I have to roast the man here, okay? Yes, the woman is, an absolute clown. She's a terrible person for cheating on the man. But you know what's even more disgusting to me than the cheaters, guys? You know what's more disgusting to me than these awful people who go out here and do these things to people? It's the people who lack the self-respect to either A, avoid the situation altogether if the girl has red flags, or B, stays in these situations where they're mistreated. Guys, I believe it is a sin for men to go out here and to disrespect themselves in such a way. Dudes will put themselves through such disgusting situations where they, where they're liable to just lose absolutely everything, where they get treated like absolute dirt, where nobody cares about them. And then we as dudes, we get this like deluded sense that we've grown up with, or that's been instilled in us, that this is somehow virtuous. Okay, that it's somehow virtuous to put up with terrible behavior, that it's somehow virtuous to put up with people who do awful things to you. Like, look at the way this man has worded this, okay? My parents always raised me to be forgiving and that it's the right thing to do. This is the kind of thought process that will land you getting cheated on multiple times, like in a row. Okay, if you ignore infidelity once, if you think that you can just ignore the red flags, ignore things like breaks, you will get cheated on. If this man, from this point right here, decides to continue the relationship and practice forgiveness, he will find himself getting cheated on more and more. But let's finish up the story here. It's been a couple of days since then. We had a big party that mutual friends were throwing, so we both went together. I had to act like everything was fine and dandy the whole weekend, which I think gave her the idea that everything is cool. But every morning I wake up next to her or see her, I can't stop thinking about the messages that she sent to another dude, and I can't find the want to even kiss her right now, because all I picture is that text with another dude. I'm not sure what to do, not sure if I'm overreacting. This man is not sure if he's overreacting. Not sure if I'm being too nice. I'm just so lost and hopeless and feel betrayed. I want to make it work, but I don't even know where to start or how to regain the trust that she lost. Thanks for any advice. And also, I suck at typing, so don't judge me on my run on sentences. So I'm going to assume that perhaps, perhaps this guy is an absolute clown. Okay, I'm just going to roast the dude here for a second, guys. This man has no self-respect, okay? Which, to be fair, he's probably grown up in a situation where he wasn't ever taught to have self-respect, as I believe most men are. But, guys, this is just another story here. This is the interesting thing about these stories, okay? This is my, the part that's most interesting to me about these situations is the fact that these behaviors that men endure, right? So, for example, a woman cheating on him, men going out here enduring women treating them like crap, whether that be, just all around rudeness, disrespect, wasting a man's time, feeling entitled to said man's time, feeling entitled to a dude's resources, any of the above kind of things, plus a million more. I just love how society tries to tell men that it's somehow virtuous for men to put up with these things, right? So like you'll notice, guys, that everybody, a lot of these social justice warriors out here, what they'll do is they will campaign under the idea of compassion and inclusivity and being forgiving and all about equality. But the truth is, guys, and this is one of my favorite sayings of all time, I have no idea where it's from, but I heard this one time and it's just stuck in my brain for such a long time. Virtues, when taken too far, become vices. Okay, in other words, if you're a man who's nice, over the top, you're over the top nice, you're forgiving, you're way too forgiving, okay, you always want to see the best in people no matter what. These are things which in moderation can be a fantastic addition to you as a man. But when you take these things too far, guys, guess what happens? You know, you line yourself up to be exploited. You get cheated on by, quite frankly, sociopaths. I've seen this comment quite a few times on recent videos, guys, and this is something that I thought would be necessary to bring up here. A lot of guys, when we cover some of these women on the channel who do these awful things to men, they'll use words to describe these girls like sociopathic. And when men use these words to describe these situations, I can't help but agree. Like, I really just absolutely cannot, because these individuals, in order to do these things to someone, you really just have to lack a whole lot of empathy. But let's read some of these comments here on this Reddit story that we have been covering. We have the first person here, roughly 3 hours ago, written by Stunning Prophet 8876, says, so basically she manufactured a quote-unquote break under the pretense of being too stressed to have a relationship, but in reality she just wanted to find a loophole for having an affair. Well, law school is the right place for her, because that's one hell of a defense plan. Unfortunately, along with being a decent lawyer, she is also a terrible person. I would argue, by the way, that this woman studying law, like, will not get through it. She'll not become successful. Okay, people who are this disgusting, right, who do things like these, especially girls who aim for marriage. Okay, I've noticed a lot of girls, right, they'll go out, they'll study things like law, and this isn't true of every woman, okay, before the all police come to the channel and Taylor said, oh, all women who do that. No. A lot of women who study things like law, medicine, okay, these hyper successful fields, and these girls who get, are looking to get married early, a lot of the girls enter into these particular situations not to actually become a lawyer, not to actually become a doctor. That's not to say that they always can't, but oftentimes it's to find dudes who are going to be successful, who are going to be naive and stupid enough, like the dude in this particular story, to put up with their terrible behavior and to provide for them. Okay, and I've said this on a few episodes, guys, and people will take me out of context and they'll say things like, oh, Taylor said every woman who's studying to be a lawyer is just there to look for men. No. Okay, or that every woman who is studying to be a lawyer is somehow going to fail at being a lawyer. I never said these things. It's just absolutely hilarious, guys, how people can't understand this. But a lot of the girls who do this, they're oftentimes looking for that meal ticket. And guys, this is just a proof in the pudding kind of story here. Oh, look, wouldn't you know it, this individual uses the word sociopathic. So they say, unfortunately, along with being a decent lawyer, she is also a terrible person. This is just beyond cheating. She planned this and baked in excuses for if and when you find out. That is quite sociopathic. Personally, I'd go for an annulment, but it's obviously up to you where you go from here. Yeah, this man needs to get a divorce ASAP. Okay, before the court starts viewing it as more and more serious and she can just walk away with more and more of his assets. I just love the modern day court system, guys, where like a dude can get cheated on, he can file for a divorce, and yet still somehow end up losing his possessions and also losing the children. But let's continue with some of these comments. I asked her very bluntly if this was the case, and she obviously was like, no, I promise. She said that she was intoxicated and effed up mentally. Wow, would you look at that? Take it. So this woman, when she cheated, her rationalization, her excuse was that she was intoxicated and she was in a bad mental place. Right, guys, like anything to avoid accountability. Oh, my mental health is poor. Oh, I drank too much. Oh, one thing led to another and I got with this guy multiple times. And then I, in the other person's word, pre-baked excuses to lie to you about said relationship. It was just all a complete accident, even though it was a series of decisions that I made. And chances are, by the way, that this woman, wasn't intoxicated or she wasn't mentally ill at the time. And even if she was, it's not an excuse to make these stupid decisions repeatedly. Okay, she chose to make these decisions, okay, but she wants to have that meal ticket man who's going to continue to provide for her even though she cheated on him. Unfortunately, annulments in my state are pretty strict. Basically have to accidentally marry your cousin or be in 2 marriages at once. Wow, would you look at that? Men getting screwed over once again. Bench South here says, once you can decide to stay, I wouldn't. Marriage is built on lies. You were her safe backup. This new romance didn't work out. The whole too stressed for a relationship was an excuse to get with another guy guilt-free. Ball Significant 2073 here says, with all due respect, divorce her cheating ass and kick her out. Let her family know. It sure is sad. Best of luck. Next individual here says, you've already done the detective work. She didn't cheat. She just cheated. She quote unquote she just cheated. She planned the break to hook up with a crush. It wasn't spontaneous. She put you into a near S-word ideation so that she could F you around and hide the truth. You are underreacting. That is the other part about these situations that I see, is men will oftentimes question if they're allowed to be frustrated or if they're allowed to be upset in these situations. Like, oh, my girlfriend cheated on me. My wife cheated on me. Hey, internet, do I have the right to be upset about this? Like, people are so often talking about how men need to express their emotions, yet we grow up in a society where men are literally told that if you go through a situation like this, if something bad happens to you, then hey guys, you just need to practice forgiveness. Okay, you just need to go through this situation. You need to pretend as though nothing happened. And if you're a good man, if you're an honorable man, you're going to work out this situation, because that's what honorable men do. I would argue, guys, that honorable men leave these situations and they stick to their principles, one of which should be self-respect. Absolutely disgusting situation here, guys. But I wanted to kind of wrap up today's episode with a couple of thoughts here for you guys, okay? Typically, I don't make these episodes where I'm specifically roasting the dudes, but I really do have to roast this guy, and I mean this in a tough, a tough love kind of way, okay? This guy is an absolute idiot for even considering trying to work it out with this particular woman, for even going through this particular situation, and even considering staying with this woman. When people break your trust, guys, that doesn't mean that you stay in the situation and that you hope things will get better and you'll work it out, because that's just the way it goes. When someone commits infidelity, when somebody lies to you in any sort of serious way, when somebody does something that's quite frankly awful, and it's not a complete accident, because I can understand, guys, right? I can understand that sometimes people make mistakes, okay? People make terrible decisions, whatever the case may be, people get unlucky, okay? But let me tell you something. Cheating on a man, lying about the cheating, manipulating the breakup, okay? Going through this particular situation, it is a series of decisions. Okay, it's not just like one thing where it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, guys, it was just an accident. Like, oh, I slept with this guy, but you don't have to worry. I didn't do, nothing really happened. Okay, like, guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When people show you who they are, you should absolutely believe them. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments to the Reddit story that we covered here today. Just straight up disgusting stuff. Also, guys, don't forget to come and join us over on Locals, okay? Locals is basically a backup for YouTube, guys, because as we all know, Miss Susan Wojcicki is not too happy with this kind of content existing on the internet, guys. So if you guys are interested, make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. Locals is totally free to join, guys. There's also exclusive videos that I do where I cover different kind of topics, where we cover different Reddit stories that YouTube just quite frankly really doesn't like us talking about. What a shock and surprise, guys. What a shock and surprise it is that sharing information between men about how to avoid these particular situations is not particularly smiled upon. I love how communicating, right? When dudes communicate to each other and say, hey, maybe this is a bad idea to get married, then somehow everybody just feels the need to step in and to try and convince men to continue to put themselves in these bad situations. Because you know what happens, guys, okay? When a man and a woman gets divorced, right, and the man's paying, child support and all this crap and paying all the money to the woman, that is money that the man is paying that the government doesn't have to do so. It's always the dude who ends up getting absolutely ruined in these situations. But of course, guys, that couldn't possibly be by design, could it? Guys, we're going to be leaving it there. As always, make sure to take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.